Okay, approval of the previous meeting of May 15th.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dave.
I'll second.
Second by Mark. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Public comments. Do we have anyone on the Zoom?
No.
Or computer or phone?
No.
Right. Acknowledge work product transmissions. May budget status report.
We have a narrative for the May budget status. It's trending very similar to last year, both the revenues and expenditures. We're taking turns, like the interest is a lot higher this year, fines and penalties are a lot higher this year, but permit revenue is a little bit down. I'm hoping, I don't know if it's a permanent lag. I increased the budget because we have phase 3 just got approved for Hair Springs. So we're hoping to get a little bit more building going on, but it's not keeping up like it did last year. So curious to see if it's going to pick up. But anyway, we do have other revenues taking its place. So we're very similar to last year. Expenditures, they're running very similar to last year. Also, we will be getting salt this year. We did not buy salt last year, so that'll be a little bit different, but
We didn't buy salt last year?
No.
Wow, cool. All right.
this year we will be. We're just gonna wait to see what that comes in at. Water utilities, sewer and storm. Nothing too exciting there. What you don't see, I guess I'm going to point out right now, what you don't see on these summaries is our projects. Remember, projects are assets. So when we do the new wells, when we do the SCADA systems, that's not showing up on here. I mean, that's something in the future, if people are really curious of what kind of projects are going on, that's what we could probably do a little bit additional spreadsheet if we're curious on that. But yeah, these are the operation revenues and operation expenses that show the net income.
The attorney, real quick, it's through May or like what part of May? All the way through May? You know, like May 31st?
It's not through May 31st.
It ain't.
No.
So a couple weeks of May plus June, and we're at 40.
So we had the HR issue,
Right.
which I was thinking about that today because I was looking at that line. Also, maybe I should probably move that HR issue to water sewer.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more room because specifically that employee was in water
That's true.
sewer.
Right.
So
That's very true. And then we've got the still ongoing the boards on 20. I mean the big, board. Why can't I think of it?
the lease.
The lease one.
Yeah, we got SBC Towers,
Yeah,
we
and
got
SBT
Lamar
Towers.
lease.
Yep.
So yeah, those are.
But not at the $90,000-$100,000 range. I mean, even 40. I think our budget this year is what, 40 something?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
As I would, like you were
Well,
saying.
21
that-
or 22 is like 91 or 97.
Yeah, that when it's dealing with,
Mhm.
like, say, for example, the utility and the sewer, then definitely they should be billed for it, not.
Yeah, 'cause-
Usually I wasn't even thinking it's HR, that's village, but yeah, when that employee is specifically in water and sewer, we'll get the
We can flip that.
expense moved over.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Because for those of us that aren't on sewer and water.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? on that one?
There was on your water utility fund, saying in there where it said staff are thinking that more people are returned to work at the office because revenues are higher. So then revenues are higher, so usage is higher then too. So I guess, whether
Yeah.
people are at home or are at work, they're using facilities that were at home or at work. So that is,
Well, you have to remember a lot of people work in Wausau. We don't have a lot of people commuting to the village to work. So we did see a difference with COVID with people staying home.
So wait, no, revenues are higher.
Yep.
Because we think they're working and they work
people
more
are
there.
working elsewhere.
Right.
So then why, if they're using the
I know.
facilities at work?
That's what I'm thinking. So they're using, the potty and all that stuff over there. I'm just, yeah.
last year.
Wasn't it several years ago, there was a situation where up by NTC in Wausau, somebody had said they noticed a bunch of water running in a ditch, and of course they poo-pooed it, it was no big deal. It turned out it was a big leak in the system, so that there's really no way of tracking that, is there, as far as to see if there's, you know.
Well, if we have a leak in the system, that would be before a meter. So we would see a lot more pumpage and less revenue.
So if we see something, you know, in a course of time, you would start seeing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, more revenue wouldn't tell me there's a leak. That would tell me that people are, whether it's the schools, you know, Jessica mentioned the extra houses in Hinter Springs. We've had some of the apartment buildings get filled up now that were built over the years.
We'll change the wording on that one.
Yeah, a lot of that's just speculation. We have more revenue.
I mean, you can actually bring it right down, break it down to a toilet at a home, you know, because if that home is characteristically here and then it's all of a sudden here, something's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because people working out of their homes, I think there's still a lot of them working out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so TIF 1 and 2 detail for me.
Oh, can we acknowledge the budget status
Oh,
first?
yeah, I was gonna see if they wanted to do it all together, but okay, can we acknowledge item 6?
Move to acknowledge.
Or Mark?
I'll say, go ahead, we'll take turns, I'll second.
All right.
On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. All right, item 7, TIF 1 and TIF 2 details.
There's nothing really special in 21 or 26. You will see that I do allocate, like when we get from Kristen Fish's firm, that's one of the main expenses going to TIF 1 and TIF 2 right now for redevelopment resources. Is that her firm? So you'll see that going to TIF 1 and TIF 2, and then in Fund 40, we purchased a lot of main for the Weston Avenue project, and that is on page 60, if you want to see that. That's a main expense that we had for this month, $492,000 in main for Weston Avenue.
I just got an unrelated question. Michael, you maybe can answer it. Somebody asked me what was being built on Weston Avenue besides the road construction. And I said, gosh, at this point, nothing that I know. I mean,
There's a pond on the north side of the road between Zinzer and Progress Way.
is there a big pile of dirt there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I said, gee, I'm gonna have to ride down and take a look down the road to see what.
Progress Way to the meat factory? I mean, where's Progress Way is
Progress
like
like
Phillips, right?
Yeah, so like south of Tommy Dock. So it's on the same as like the Shuta property or whatever we call it.
I used to own that.
Okay.
So across from the golf course. So there'll be a pond on that north side. So they're stockpiling the sand. So as they do their wetland excavation, they're using that sand then to fill in the marsh.
That's kind of what I told them, but I said if I was wrong, I would get rid of it.
Well, what do you call, you know, on Camp Phillips, you know, where we're all that cul-de-sac that's still not quite done yet, you know, and what are those roads called? That's not Progress Way too?
On Camp Phillips?
Yeah, Camp Phillips and Weston on the south east corner. That whole mess, you know.
The transport way?
Oh, transport, never mind.
There you go.
Never mind, okay. And then real quick, as long as we're talking about that. So we have a detour that runs down Ryan, Shorey, and Zinzer back. Why wouldn't we run that just the other way? I mean, Shorey is no detour road.
So that's a detour strictly for Crane Meadows.
Okay, strictly for Crane Meadows,
Yeah.
okay. Because people think that the feeling is that's the actual way to go.
Sure.
And right now what's happening is, and this is from the guy I work with on Ryan there, Jay Arndt.
Yeah.
He says it's like a race course. People try to race, you know, somebody wants to do like 35 or maybe look around and another one's flying around them. And he says, you don't even know what's going to happen next and who's coming, you know, so.
Yeah.
And he thinks they're coming from the south, coming down Shorey and then up Ryan. I go, well, why would they do that? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
You would come to Weston and then down, you know.
Yeah.
You're not going to cheat anything by coming down that that.
I didn't even
rec-
realize you could, oh, I suppose go across. I want to say, I
Yeah.
didn't think Ryan got you to Weston Avenue anymore. I mean, that you couldn't use.
Yeah.
Anyway, the actual signed detour is to just use Highway 29.
Right, that's, okay, that's what I thought too. Okay. That's, I mean, I went out there and I thought, I mean, am I over in, I shouldn't say Ukraine because that's not funny. But I mean, it was just really torn apart. I just couldn't believe it. I went and looked at that house, you know, and I was stunned that much has happened already, you know? Wow.
Okay, I need to acknowledge item 7. I think it's your turn.
No,
Dave,
they went up.
Okay, and Mark, second.
Second.
Okay, on the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Education presentation and reports, I don't see anything here unless you have something. Policy issues, discussion, recommendation, discussion on 2024 budget.
We're starting to do the wages already because we know what people received from last year. So we're trying to get that together, looking at that's just getting everything ready and getting all the new people in the budget process. So to get an idea of basically what impact do wages have, and then we have the spreadsheet set up. So if we want a 2, a 3, a 4, whatever percentage increase we want for the next year, we can just type that in and it will show up. So so working on that. Other than that, we're just trying to think of, is there a better way to do the budget process? Always trying to think how to get people involved and just really more comfortable with what the budget is. So when I want it, so if a resident comes up to someone, oh, what are the wage increases this year, that you'll know what did the village board give for wage increase to the employees. I mean, I think that's important to take ownership of that and really know. I know last year I had somebody come up, oh, what did the employees get? And I'm like, well, it's part of the budget process. That's our biggest number. I'm hoping that people are going to take an interest and really know what kind of increase did the employees get. That's just one example, but I just think it's important that people are comfortable with what is adopted, and however I can help get people more comfortable with the numbers that are being presented and adopted is.
Oh, yeah, and I think too, because different ones are getting different amounts.
Well,
In the budget though, it was only one amount. We had one amount in the budget, which was approved by the village board to put in there. But going through that process, I'm hoping people know what was approved in the budget then. It's just being more conscious of it, I guess.
no, it's a good point. I get questions, even people that aren't in municipal government, but they want to, you know, like a grocer, you know, over in Ashland. You know, what's your annual budget? And I'm, wow, that's pretty cool that he wants to know that, you know. And it's almost like we need a bullet sheet or a cheat sheet, but no, we shouldn't get a cheat sheet, because then that's just canned answers. We need to understand what these numbers are and understand how it all comes together, not just to be able to throw out a number, you know.
Yeah, saying 80% of our wages, which is $2 million, go to wages and benefits. I mean, we should know, I mean, to be able to explain to a resident that is how much it costs to keep your roads plowed and water bills taken, you know, all that's part of that's our total budget. So I just want to speak up and let you know that we're working on it already. And if you have any ideas or recommendations or any changes, let us know.
You know, when you're talking about benefits, we started doing something 3 years ago that we have. It's called your annual package. And it shows, you know, so many people think of this is how much I make per hour. No, it's the ESOP, it's the benefits, health insurance. I mean, it's all this stuff. And you realize the company's actually paying you X dollars per hour.
Yeah.
You're getting this. And then on top of that, the taxes come out of that. But it's amazing, because when they look at that, go, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's how much it is, you know.
I think we did that when.
That was quite a few years ago. It's something we could probably do again because our budget work paper really spells it out really
Yeah,
nice.
because then I think some of the people that were thinking, oh gee, that they were underpaid, discovered that with their retirement and all that stuff that they weren't really, because, you know, when you compare to others, it just doesn't compare.
Mhm. That's all I got for that.
You got something?
So, have you got any updates on this, the government or the state aid to municipalities as far as how close this is?
It
or are you
was
still looking at the
passed,
same?
Michael, I don't think the governor signed it, did he? So the Senate and the House passed it, but I do not believe the governor signed it yet.
So are you still looking at approximately the same, was it 381,000?
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit more, but I'm not quite sure.
Did that
We're
include-
in that ballpark, 381. Yep.
Did that include the highway aid increase or just the?
So that what we're talking about is shared revenue only.
Okay,
And Michael said he did see that there's a bigger pot, but we're already maxed out with the formula. So I don't think we'll see much more to that.
But our percentage is pretty high compared to some others, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as highway aids and for 2024. I should see about a $95,000.
That's a good quit talking one time. I noticed it. Yep. I don't know if it's my braces or my fillings or what, you know.
But yeah, so this year we got about an $83,000 increase. Next year we should be seeing about a $95,000 increase. And the following year we should be at about 110 year over year. So
Assuming that budget signed right away, how soon do you get the money? Right away, or is this in 2024?
It's 2024.
Okay.
So what else? Oh, personal property tax, that's in the bill to go away. So we're pretty excited about that.
It's gonna go away?
It's in the bill to go away.
That sucks.
it's looking like it, yeah, they're.
We want it to go away.
Well, you
It's-
do, yeah, but we don't, you know, we want to go.
They could possibly line item veto that, so it still may stay in there, right?
the state was going to backfill that though. So any revenue
Yeah.
lost, the state would add that in though back to the communities.
I mean, to be
If it
honest,
goes away,
If it went away,
but we don't want it to go away.
We want it to go away.
Oh, we want it to go
We
away.
don't want the money to go
Oh, I
away.
thought you meant the bill to go away.
no,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Okay,
I
I
want-
misunderstood you.
I want the tax bill of personal property to go
Ah.
away.
Okay,
personal
thank
property
you.
tax
Those
is
businesses want it to go away too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
But
it
they've
is,
always said they're gonna backfill it by.
I heard that too.
Shared revenue.
personal property has been a pain in the butt forever.
Yeah, it's
So what do you
not,
call that when you do that abbreviation thing? What's PPS or PPT or what? What's happening tomorrow in Wausau with PP something? It's supposed to happen tomorrow in Wausau.
I have no idea.
Okay. So is it PPS, PPT, PPT, personal property tax?
PPTX is how we abbreviate it,
No,
but
there's three, I was just listening to this on the golf course today. We had a bunch of legislatures and stuff running around and I just, at one of the holes, I heard him say, it's gonna happen tomorrow, Wausau, it's gonna happen tomorrow, you know, then I go, what, you know? And then I had to tee off, and I had to go
Unless they're gonna sign
sign something, you know,
the,
maybe.
to have the bill passed, I don't.
Well, Evers is getting pretty friendly with Katie. I mean, you know, Katie's getting a lot of recognition with the, you know, peace signs and stuff. Maybe he'll sign it there, you know, I don't know.
never know.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, do we need any acknowledgement? or-
I don't think so.
Okay,
No, okay.
then item number 10. Oh, no resolutions and ordinances, we didn't have anything,
How
future?
about item number 9?
Yeah, updating policies.
Yes.
Mhm.
About that.
That's okay.
We were talking so much about this.
Oh, I know.
What's that here? Okay.
So we're looking at updating our policies. In the past, there've been single policies. We're looking at creating a handbook or a manual of policies. I attached the links to 4 of them that are just samples, and they are so different. One's like a few pages, the other one's 141 pages. They're really interesting though. They do have they're a good guide. One of the ones I liked was Yakima. I thought that was a interesting one.
Which one? Yakima,
Yakima.
Washington?
Yeah.
Steve
My
up?
links don't work, do they?
What's that?
Why don't they work?
What don't work?
My links.
Oh,
I even had it.
oh, I don't see Yakima on here. You said you had 4 of them here, right?
Yeah, but they're not.
Oh, Conemaugh, Superior, Evansville, and, oh, there's Yakima, first one. What am I doing?
Okay, so next time I'll have to fix that. But anyway, I had 4 policies attached and none of them are linked. But in the future, we'll get that fixed. And the ones that I liked with Yakima is it's kind of like the line of authority. A lot of times staff are like, well, who needs to approve this? What needs to be approved? And I think something like this, like what does the village board approve? What do they want to approve? What don't they care? And that the line of authority really spells out, like if it's under $500, a department head can just go buy it, or, you know, is it a regular operations? Okay, like sometimes, like for public works, we have a $3,000 part, right? Is that okay? I mean, we do it anyway. It's an expense we need, but on the other hand, there's a $3,000 item in finance, and that's a big number for finance. We always feel, well, we need to get that approved through finance. And what kind of rules and regulations do we need to follow when buying stuff like that? Is it dollar amount, or what kind of specific use the item has, or it's just something like that. Just an idea of clarifying the process.
So what did you say was the thing that you liked about Yakima?
It was pretty broad. It was a great general guideline, and it reached in different areas. It went from the lines of authority, and then it touched on the cash, investments, receivables, payables, and then the fund balance. Kind of like what I have set up here is kind of like a pattern to after Yakima.
Well, fun fact.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, fun fact. Yakima is the primo place to have pears and hard fruit, apples and fruit, cherries. That when that air and that the whole climate that comes over those mountains and then it settles in Yakima Valley, there is no land worth more money. And if you're in the cherries, which is only 8 to 9 weeks, and or apples or pears, it's unbelievable. And it's so noticeably different than like Seattle and the mist in the water, but that mountain range does something. So just a little fun fact. So,
So Jessica, did you find I thought Rothschild had kind of a 1-page policy on this, or a couple pages.
There's just
Talking about how you're asking about how budgeted items might be handled by staff relative to.
no, I basically said that's one thing that I think needs to be included in our policy is a line of authority and how things get approved.
Oh. So going by different dollar amounts, whether it's been approved in an operating budget, that kind of thing.
Right, and maybe we need to go by uses, like if you get a street department that has a $3,000 budget or a $3,000 piece of equipment, is that just automatically okay? Or if it's $3,000 to fix a piece of equipment, is that okay? What needs to actually get approved by somebody else?
what policy? Are you gonna kind of make these happen so we can look at them or no? The links? Okay, I wouldn't mind just kind of seeing what's in there. So you're talking about like the $25,000 bidding and equipment that you want. What's that policy? Okay.
Yeah, it's good to
Yeah,
have
I
something
think
to
so.
follow.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave?
So I see, you have these 4 different communities that you're looking at their policies, are you trying to pick the best out of each? Whatever, if one has something that's good, you're trying to pick.
Well, I was trying to
1 out of
decide in the
4.
format, which
How did you randomly get these 4? I'm looking at these and I'm just going, this is so bizarre. You know, especially Superior. So you're saying Superior, Wisconsin?
yes.
So Superior, Wisconsin normally has nothing like over Duluth. You know, Duluth has everything over Superior, but yet here sits Superior. Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, it's seriously, it's like, it's just like it's falling apart and it needs to kind of thrive more, but yet their policy is good.
They have a very comprehensive policy.
Do they?
Yeah, they did.
It's such an old area up there.
It's not really based on what they have or don't have. It's the people that are there that determine
Yeah, oh yeah,
how
I know.
in-depth they want their policies to be.
Yeah. Exactly. I like it.
My dad took us up there like 3 or 4 summers in a row when I was like a little kid, because he went to summer school
Oh,
for his
Superior?
master's degree. Yeah.
It was what?
Swam, huh?
It was what?
Well, he went up to school there
Oh,
for his
okay.
master's degree,
Oh, okay.
swam in Lake Superior.
And I'm sure
Froze
there's,
my tail off, but.
oh, I think the freshest thing you could do is swim in Lake Superior. It's so cold, and yet when you're in there, when you can catch your breath and then you stay in there, oh, it's just incredible.
Our whole vacation was just trying to get into the water.
Oh no.
I never quite made
I was
it.
on a motorcycle trip and we were in there in 5 minutes. Man, so nice.
I see in that financial policies manual that you have included in the packet.
Mhm.
Is that something that the two of you are working on that, or is this you have a group of people sitting down going over these things?
It's just the two of us.
Okay. Are you thinking about forming committees to get more input so you don't have?
I
to
guess
do so
I am
much?
bringing it to you to see what do you want? Because this is just something that needs to be done. And the motivation is not quite there, but I just kind of see the interest of the committee and how important is it? Should this be done yesterday or should we?
Would you be able to get any recommendations or bullet points from like River Rose or companies like that too, or no? Or did you already have that on there? I haven't read that.
No, I don't have it on there.
But I think it's important because years ago, that if you don't have a policy, how do you know what you can or cannot do? Or, I mean, I can remember when a certain finance person invested monies in a type of investment that was illegal.
Well, that's the one, I guess if we were gonna have a policy for all of our places here. And I'm sorry, Michael.
Jessica, you need to mute yourself.
Yeah, okay, I guess the last pop. Don't start this up until Nate's here.
I can remember when I was treasurer, that we had such a loose,
Yeah,
nothing was really, there was the state statute, and that was what you went by.
I feel very confident in our finance department that the last one I think we need for policy would be here, but it's encouraging that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the thing is, yes, we have a very good staff, but who
Mhm.
says we don't hire someone that you think is very well, and if there's nothing there other than state statute, that isn't, or a loose policy like we, adopted it, it's not really,
Well,
smart.
so you're looking for some direction, I say forge ahead. Forge ahead, yep.
I mean, I from a, like, say, the public works perspective, Jessica brought it up. Sometimes we have, a $10,000 purchase on, something that maybe has to happen like now, and say we got
When
to.
you back up, it does nothing.
I know, I
So that
don't.
whole dramatic thing about you backing up, it isn't working.
I just feel like I'm too close. But,
Oh, yeah, you're thinking about these things? Okay.
yeah, these two.
Huh.
Like we go to repave a road and, we can get a quote and the contractor's like, we have a budget of what, $500,000 for street maintenance. A $10,000 to, repair some sidewalk or curb and gutter or a street, is that something that, generally we bring the street maintenance plan to you guys, say, this is what we're gonna do this year, and we go do it. I mean, do we need to bring back every expenditure, And I think right now we're okay. There's been times where, I feel like I've been questioned, like you spent how much money on this? Well, it was in the budget. So I guess, it's maybe more of a CYA of if I'm following something, we know that it's not gonna be something where you get in trouble for making a $10,000 purchase.
It's amazing on some of the committees and commissions I'm on. that they'll say, well, you know, do you think I can? Or, well, you know what, I'll just ask Jessica. So it's safer says that, and you know, please say that. And I'll just talk to Jessica. Okay.
So, and like the city of Wausau, I believe it's their finance director, their city attorney. I don't know if there's a third, I think there's a third one.
Public Works Director.
Their public works director. So yeah, if the three of those agree, essentially, you know, change orders, things like that on projects get approved by that committee. I mean, so if we have something that says, you know, if it's within a certain range and the finance director says it's okay, I guess that's fine with me too.
Just to not have to go to a committee or a commission.
Yeah, just to know, like, what is that process? Are we trying to, do we have to delay something for a few weeks to get to a committee? Do we have to call an emergency meeting or?
I see this financial policies manual, you've put a lot of work into that thing. But I noticed just the three of us had a discussion when we were here before the meeting regarding under the thing of cash and investments. That I would recommend that there be a little bit more in there as far as investments, as far as who and what, and you know, who's authorized to do it, to drive people to drive snow plows. You know, how much of bank CDs or different kinds of securities does your portfolio have? Just set up the parameters as far as what's allowed, what isn't allowed, and just have more in there. I would recommend.
Should we, I don't want to be too restricted though, obviously, when I guess you could have max amount. I mean, you don't want to range too much. I mean, right now, I don't know, the treasuries are bad. I have a couple bad investments. And if I was any brighter, I'd try to get rid of them. But that's somewhere I'm not comfortable with that.
Isn't the whole thing is the trustees are charged with the responsibility of overseeing the entire operation. They can't be here every day to see what's actually going on. So the purpose of having detailed policies is just to basically what you said, CYA. You know, if somebody does go off the deep end and do something they shouldn't do, having the policy covers you. That's where you some of these things you do want to have it a little bit more detailed, because
you can't have it so detailed that you can't even follow it though. It has to be broad enough where you're not spending all your time trying to follow this policy.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, you can't micromanage it to the point that you can't even work with it. You know, I mean that, and I mean the finance department has been the one that pretty much, you know, been in charge of the finances as far as CDs and investments. I think it's all been. I would think that if you've got something that you're not sure of, if you could go to someone and you know, give that authority that you maybe could ask the board, can I go ahead with this? And I feel I'd be more comfortable if I could discuss this with someone that has that finance, you know. I mean, there's a whole difference.
Jessica, are you the one that makes all the investment decisions then?
Yeah.
So that is sometimes 2 or 3 people, like you mentioned, the city of Wausau with the finance director and public works and such. Is it maybe not a good idea to have?
Not if they don't have any finance knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not gonna help with any kind of investments.
Finance.
No, but just
But what I'm saying is if Jessica was talking about some treasury notes and she's not sure something on how you could go about it, I would think if it was possible to go to somebody who
Nice to
actually
have
that's their
somebody
job.
else to go to. Yeah.
Does Ellers do that?
I don't think they're supposed to do that, are they?
They can. But remember we tried to get investment advisors a while ago. We never got anybody. The interest rates were really poor at the time, so it really wasn't. We would have been paying for investment advice at the time instead of them reducing our interest costs or interest income. Having one person, I guess that's just something I need to work on. If I could build a relationship with one or a couple people that just to bounce stuff off of. Yeah, right now sometimes I have somebody from California that emails me, and he's usually pretty good. He has some good rates and he CDs, but obviously he's not a fiduciary at the village. So he can tell me it's good and I can take his word for it and buy it, or else I can research some, but a lot of times if they are really good, it's gone if I don't get them back to them by the end of the day. I don't know kind.
What happens if you are incapacitated? Who's gonna make the investment decisions? Do funds just sit there in some low rate account?
Pam is the other person who is in charge of the finances. We both sign for everything, or our names on everything for both of us, so.
But I mean, in this day and age, I mean, you can't say that you have one bad one, because look at the failed institutions out there and there's no recourse, there's no punishment, nothing. And it feels like no matter what you do or who you listen to, you're so far behind who's actually pulling the strings and the triggers. And then are those people right? Or is it all inside? And you just don't know. And sometimes the conservative way is the way to go, I mean, you never hear about the ones that made a decision a couple of years ago and it failed. You only hear about the ones that are winning, just like any casino. You never hear who's dumping all that money there. It's just the ones that are walking out with $50. Well, I hear your name all the time out there. But so it's just that's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. I just think of all the people that have all the money in sports and all the, and how they lose it so fast because they trust all the wrong people. If they would have just put it in the bank, it just got simple interest, it would still be there. That's look at the people that just don't even have it there anymore because it's gone. And they had no idea what they were doing. It just amazes me sometimes when I think about it. Anyway, okay. But I think some policies, yeah.
I brought up Superior's policy handbook. It's 141 pages. And they incorporate a lot in this. Probably some stuff that's in the employee handbook too. Like they have business conduct, ethical behavior when purchasing stuff. I mean, we don't think of it very often, but if you purchase something from the same vendor over and over again, this policy basically says you better not be accepting any gifts from that vendor.
We have to sign that not just one time, but every single year. And then we have some buyers that are buying, I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they have these really strong relationships. And I know there's more to the policy than just signing on there. I think there's some tests that, I don't know what the tests are, but it's just an awful lot of money. And why we do that and why we ask our people to sign those things, including me, is because we do it. We do it. We go to the owners, we offer them money to do stuff. We offer them rebates, and it happens everywhere. It's just amazing, So it's just, it can get a little convoluted on what is mine and what is not mine. I mean, I remember last year, the first time that this balloon thing came up, and I thought, should we be accepting tickets? I mean, is that really ours? Should we really be the ones to go? I'm going this year. I am. I mean, it's not like I'm getting a gift. We did have one vendor of this village when I was the town supervisor, and that vendor was bringing, I would say trinkets, not big stuff, but trinkets, just trinkets to our homes. And I was in the business, and I brought a box of all my trinkets to a board meeting, and he was there and he just about died. I would bring them there and it stopped right there. So I just didn't think it was right, because some of the stuff is so silly, I mean, people buy a lot of crazy stuff for sports tickets and hats and different things. Anyway, yeah, I just remember one time, and we had a guy here, I mean, everyone here knows him, but we bought a huge grader. And there was a lot of crap right in our back room saying that he got a boat because he bought a boat. And it was just a bunch of crap. It was. I truly believe that there's no way he took a boat from these people. But then I go to the town of Reed town hall, and at the end of the year, you can do that thing where if everybody says yes at a township, it goes through. Yeah. And it's like one time a year, and Jackie Dolman was the chairperson out there, and they bought a grader, a John Deere grader, and they bought the most expensive one. And everyone was just screaming that so-and-so, Jackie Dolman got a boat or something. I thought, oh my God. Anyway, I don't know where that went. I'm sorry. And Barb wants to leave early. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I got a town meeting.
Between her and
That's
I, we're
big.
talking so much.
Town meeting is where it's gonna last long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you need a policy, but don't make it so restrictive that you can't work in it, you know? That's my opinion. I dealt with it.
You want to
for
cover
years.
yourself so that if something does happen, you've got the recourse.
I would make the policy so that you could work easier and more effectively here. So that you wouldn't have to call a meeting, you wouldn't have to call this. And I would actually look at other departments. Where's that number? What's supposed to be that number?
Well, when Michael was talking, I mean, if something is budgeted and the sidewalk say was in that budget and it was part of that thing, I guess I didn't realize that when you were gonna do it, you had to get permission.
Well, so I don't, that's why I generally bring it, say, here, we're gonna spend $10,000 on sidewalks this summer, we're gonna spend 15,000 on curb and gutter, whatever it is.
Right,
And I guess I don't bring those ones back to you guys,
right.
but
You probably don't want to.
I don't, yeah, I mean,
I'm
Well,
sorry.
he gets burned a couple times on equipment and CIP and,
I mean,
you know,
to
the
me,
chief does
that's-
too, where you're in your zone.
Yeah.
Yet the bid was higher and then somebody questions you
Well,
and you feel like, well, wait a minute, I'm not out of line here, you know?
Yeah.
But somebody doesn't know what's going on is happening, so.
well, I think sometimes we're trying to micromanage, and I think we hire people to do this, and if they bring a bid in and it shows that there's $10,000 for sidewalks, that's your time you should question it. If you think, oh, 10,000 is too much for sidewalks, not after the bid is okay, signed, and you're putting it in, all of a sudden they're questioning, how come you're spending $10,000 on sidewalks? And I don't agree with that, all right? I just think we're trying to micromanage, and that's not why we hire people. Not that we can't keep track of them, but.
yeah. No, and I use sidewalks just because it's not, we don't necessarily always have like a sidewalk contract that's a lump sum, you know. That we'll have an 80-foot long stretch on Schofield Ave, we'll go get that repaired, and that's maybe $1,000. Then we'll go do another one that's $2,500. You know, throughout the course of the summer, we'll have these little pockets that we go and fix, and it adds up to 10,000 for the year.
Right, but you had 10,000 in.
But there's 10,000 kind of called out in the budget.
Repair, right? Okay, well,
Right.
that's, to me, that's,
So,
I won't say it.
yeah, no, but like I said, it's just one of those things where as staff, you know, sometimes there's board members that are comfortable with that, and sometimes there might be people that say, well, how do you have the authority to do that? So I guess if it is spelled out that you can do that, you're good.
Yes.
And then, you know, you're not worried that you're
Outstepping yourself, and you're gonna be questioned. Yeah, if you can say, it's right here in the policy.
Yeah. So,
I think with the policy handbook, again, that's one thing we need to, every time there's a new board, bring it forward and say, this is our policy. Do you want to change anything? Because if you get a board that doesn't feel that way, that they want more control, that's fine. You can have more, but just let us know. And that's a great thing to do up front, which the policy handbook would allow us to present
Right.
what we're operating under and allow for changes right away.
Look at it and question it, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a great benefit of something put together like that. I think that's all.
So do
I
you
guess-
have your ideas? I mean, I think, Michael, are you talking about also writing out a policy for the street department?
well, I guess just kind of jointly with Jessica.
Okay.
You know, like utilities, one of the things that's in here is a utility cash reserve. You know, and over the last several years, we've been planning for some of these larger utility projects. I mean, you know, Channel 7 was asking about the well 7 and 8 project today, so they came and, you know, we tell people we want that land in what, 2009, 2010, and you know, they don't it's not always realized, you know, we've been planning for this so that when we do put it in, it's not a shock to the ratepayers in the system. So we do have a pretty healthy cash reserve above and beyond likely what is required. So I guess part of what we need to be, I guess, utility wise looking forward is how do we look at spending that down? You know, what do we do with that kind of excess over and above what is required? You know,
some of your projects that you could do without raising rates would be nice.
well, and that's it. You know, how
Not that I have a problem, but
you know, so, you know, do we use that on one project? Do we say over the next 5 years, we're gonna, you know, use 50% of it on, you know, I guess, how do we want to look at smoothing that out? So I mean, maybe that's more internal strategy that we bring back to you guys, but.
I think it's part internal strat, but it's also rate strategy. I know Ellers was kind of advising us on one of the more recent projects. They knew we had a good fund balance, but our cash reserve, they still advised that, you know, we should raise our rates and borrow some money, but you know, we're at a point where we can spend some and lessen the rate impact.
well, I would think so. Otherwise we'll get accused of sitting on it. And
That's the hard part is, you know, if you got it and you don't have to charge people extra, you know, what's the right thing?
And
to do?
actually that reserve can get built back up again. It isn't like it's a stagnant dollar amount. I mean, it's considered, I think, more of a one-time funding, but I mean, it's, you know.
Well, just even a partial, like for the $2 million project, use a $500,000 of fund balance and then borrow for the rest. I mean, just strategy like that to help benefit the customers over several years instead of, okay, we're not borrowing as much this year, there's not a impact on the rate, but then next year we're gonna raise it 10% because we didn't.
Well, yeah, we've gone through that kind of by just not raising it and then all of a sudden finding ourselves behind the 8 ball is on rates. But yeah, but I just think if you've got money there and you can use it for these one-time projects, that would, you know, make sense.
Rate increases are controlled. I mean, the PSC does, they're not gonna allow you to raise the rates if you're gouging your customers. They look at that. I mean, there's a control here with, especially with water utility. So.
Okay. Anything else?
Mhm.
Is there anything else?
I guess my plan in the future is to bring in maybe a couple of policies back a month and
Yeah, that's a good idea.
walk through them and get them approved.
Yeah.
It'll take probably a good year to actually get through and get a handbook together, but I think it's a good step.
Well, yeah, you can't expect it overnight, so.
No, the attention spans are just, especially it's kind of dry. It's not
Are you
very
talking
exciting.
directly to me?
Not at all.
Because you were looking right at me.
I was looking at the screen.
Hey, it's even for somebody that deals with numbers all the time, but I know some people that you start, I knew some board members, they said the minute that they started talking, even the budget or whatever, you could
glaze
just see
over.
their
Yeah, they
eyes
glaze over.
glaze over.
I know one particularly thinks of food, so. yeah.
I could do numbers, but once you get into the words, I glaze over the words.
Yeah.
I'm not a word person.
Yeah, I understand.
You gotta make the covers gotta be really like what some of your new graphics,
Yeah.
like not just that color wheel that we have for Weston. It's gotta be like money stuff and like no, and stuff like that. Right.
Okay, anything else, Jess?
No.
Okay, no, that was item 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next meeting date, July 17th
Mhm.
at 4:15. Okay, we must have
Tourism.
We have tourism there.
tourism in
Tourism, I
that one.
We have
Okay.
4 a year, yeah.
Okay. Any topics for future meetings?
And we can't talk about tourism. Tourism has to talk about tourism, right?
Right,
Okay.
because actually the board nor the
You-
finance committee has really
Right.
a lot to say about
It's
what
commission,
tourism
yeah.
do. 'Cause it's a
And you have to
commission.
elect your officials this
Yeah.
time too. Okay.
I don't know why you took yourself off, but other than that,
Off your what?
why you took yourself off the
I was
tour.
gonna ask about that. Can I put myself back on?
We
It's
could,
your decision.
Yeah.
Used to go
Yeah.
by board.
Yeah. Okay, I might. I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah, I'm going, why did you do that? But I can't, you're the president, so. Okay, topics for future meetings, just are you gonna bring back different? Maybe
Well, wait a minute,
progress?
she's not even on finance, right? Jamie Wyland is not even on finance.
No.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
No.
So, but I won't be able to have it on before July. Right? No,
You can put it on this meeting.
tonight?
No, not-
In my-
not-
no,
yeah, not-
in my remarks, I can.
Yeah,
I can talk about it during remarks. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
just so she knows
Yep.
that it's.
She can attend them just like I do. I get pretty
Right.
loud, so, yep. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, just maybe with any progress you're making on any of the,
We'll probably try to bring at least one back. With that, we'll probably do the reserve policy, the cash reserve policy for the utilities.
you know, work at what you can handle without over. So,
Right. Well, we're working on the budget at the same time.
because I want to say budget is come,
Right.
is in the
We
process.
gotta finish the financial statements. We were waiting on the auditors for a little bit. I just got that back late last week. So this week, I'm hoping to get the financial statements back to them. So that's the goal this week. Are we,
Anything else thing that anybody can think of? that you
No,
wanna
I'm
run?
good. There's nothing
Michael?
hanging out there. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, at the end of the Public Works Committee meeting, committee member Deason did mention bringing the discussion of the stormwater utility rates to finance. So probably next month.
okay.
Okay, and then, well, remarks from staff, I guess. Anything
I
else?
was, so Nicolay Bank approached us and they want to give a proposal on moving our checking over there. What they're offering was really, really nice for the village, really good. Right now, we're getting 2.5 in our checking and we only have $1 million collateralized. Nicolay was talking about a sweep account, which our full balance would be collateralized and the amount in the sweep would be at the LGIP rate, which was 5%. So it was sounded really good. I'm gonna wait till they get back, but obviously we need to, I don't know if it's policy or if I can go out and ask other banks for proposals or if I have to do an official RFP. Does anyone remember?
Where is Nicolay Bank?
Nicolay Bank is in Wausau,
Okay. And where are we now?
inner city. There's a few things
Where is
that,
Nicolay? Is it down by the courthouse?
Milwaukee Burger.
Oh, way over there. Oh. Okay. So just kind of like unasked for, just boom, just asked.
So I wanted to pull a CD and I wanted a better rate. I was gonna reinvest it with them and they said, well, if you're a customer, we can do 25 basis points better. And I'm like, okay. And then, so they asked if they could give us a proposal. And I said, doesn't hurt. So I talked to them, they're gonna give us a proposal. But Incredible was very generous. Also, I threatened to pull $1 million out of there and they came back with a much better interest rate. So just talking.
It's amazing how they can do that. Or eliminate a service fee. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
and-
anyway.
Inner City was years back, when we first became a village, we actually, at that time, was with River Valley State Bank. And I was crucified because I put out bids with the administrators, because we had to do new checking accounts. And I did that. I sent letters to all the banks. It wasn't necessarily what I want to say, you know, official, but they all came back and sealed letters. And then we opened them all, you know.
You got crucified?
Yes,
You should have had a policy.
that's because my son was a teller
I know.
at the bank.
Oh,
You know,
Had
So-
nothing to do with it.
so a meeting or two ago, I was asked by a sitting commission and committee member why we don't, you know, if we could see our way clear to doing some loans with Abbey Bank. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you know, I mean, you know, if you have the opportunity, couldn't we just, you know, have some there? And I said, well, they're always bid out. And I was kind of stunned that he asked me this. And he said, well, what do you mean? I says, not only are they bid out, Intercity crushes. The last ones I've seen, they're not even close. And it's kind of like they're just saying, done, we just want you to be here. You know, so if you want it, you want it. You don't want to make money on this one deal, but you're going to make it on everything else, fine. And he goes, really? I go, yeah, really. So if you get aggressive, that's how we talk about it. So, but I was kind of surprised that he said that, you know.
But I guess that before I would do that, I would put something out.
Just reach
there.
out to other banks.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because if the first of all, my thought is, they're not Weston.
Mhm.
That's my first, but I know
Yeah.
we can shoot ourselves in the foot for doing that too, because if we can get and that they don't change or start charging.
Yeah.
I can remember that was one of the problems is Intercity was really good about not charging us all these little hidden fees.
They are, but they don't collateralize all our money either, which is,
No,
it
that's
is a
what we
risk,
tried.
It
obviously.
goes, yeah.
Yeah, they
we
do $1
tried
million,
that.
so.
Yeah, we tried to.
Well, you know,
do that,
they-
they wouldn't do it.
They, you know, when Michelle left, you know, I got a phone call personally, you know, and I says, I'm not at your bank because of her. I'm at your bank because of you. He goes, well, you deal with Michelle. I said, I know I do, but I can't deal with you. You won't let me deal with you, but that's why I'm at your bank because of you. And then I thought we had a great home loan, you know, when the loans were low, the interest rates were low. And I was in the middle threes and I got a call from somebody I didn't know at there and they said, you know, 2.45. And then it went to a 2.35. It settled at a 2.25 and that's where we are. It's retarded. I mean, it's crazy. And I called Randy and I go, Randy, why are you doing this? This is, I mean, and I was on this board. I go, you know, if this has anything to do with this board, you can't do that. He goes, Mark, you don't know how many people vote with their feet, you know, and they don't talk to you. They're just gone. And we just want to make sure that some of the customers, we have a kind of group of customers that we're going to call and we're going to talk to. I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's a hell of a rate. You know, my mom had 4% forever, and I thought that was a great rate when I was paying 13 with Jimmy Carter. All right, enough of that. You got to get meeting at 4:30, or you have to get up.
I gotta get up.
But we're locked in at a 6 o'clock board meeting.
Mhm.
So what was the question again, Jessica?
The bank.
I was
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
do I need to do an official RFP or just reach out to the banks that we regularly work with?
Personally, I think if you just write a letter to the different banks and ask them to do a sealed envelope so that you aren't being accused
Can
of,
we do it by email?
well,
There's no sealed
By what?
envelope anymore. Can we do it by email?
Yeah, so I would just say we were solicited, we were, you know, solicited for this and I wouldn't disclose what the deal was because I don't think that's fair, but then say, you know, so this is now opened up. If you would like to send this back in and see what we are and we'll make a decision from there. You know, so many
Yeah,
people always want to say, what's
you
the number?
gotta
You gotta
do it.
tell me what the number. No, you might give me a better number.
and
you
find
know.
out what their fees
Mhm,
are as
yeah.
far as checking fees and whatever's, you know, because that can add up really fast too,
Mhm.
is all your high fees. But if you do it by email, you are gonna have to make sure that is, until.
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
That's the way we've always done it.
You just can't shop it. You can't.
Yeah, you can't shop it. You can't, I think email's fine. Yeah, they can't see it.
Right.
As long as the others don't see the others. you know, Or you're not telling, what the low rate is. You gotta beat this to
Right, I
get
would
there.
say that would be,
Yeah,
Jessica would have that
yeah.
knowledge and that would be, that it isn't.
You don't send out a comparison showing all of
Right,
it.
right,
Did you
right.
see that such and such, we don't get this from? Well, no, you can't do that.
The only thing is,
You're smiling.
Once you receive them, you can show them, but unless you're gonna start
Right.
negotiating with somebody, but like
No,
Michael says,
you
there
don't
shouldn't be
want,
shopping.
you don't want someone to hear or see what the other one did unless they.
Well, that's what this person said, we give really good bids. I says, not that good. I mean, you might think they are good bids, but not to that degree, so. You can,
one was mentioned tonight.
One what?
So there was that one number that was mentioned tonight that if somebody watched this recording,
what one number?
that Jessica mentioned.
Oh,
The 654 number?
that was just all.
Or is it the 732 or the 978?
Which changes all the time.
87.
Yeah. Just deny. We're in trouble with our audio.
Yes, we are.
Blame it on me.
Okay, anything else?
Not for me. Is it our turn or staff?
Our turn now. Staff had nothing
I'm
more.
done.
I'm good with committee.
Okay.
I will
Dave?
talk to some of the committee members too, by the way. Yep. Dave?
Got
On
anything?
attendance.
Are we making a motion to
No,
adjourn?
no, just, did you have any more comments?
Absolutely not.
Anything you would like to be done? Okay, I have no announcements. German.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are adjourned at 5:52.
Wow, it's 5:52. 5:32.
5:32.
Okay, I'm
5:30.
sorry.
Right.
That
I was
number
gonna
is,
say, we really jumped some numbers.
well, this little time down here, I did look up there where I could actually have the print.
So the tourism commission is 5 members. One has to be from the hotel motel industry.
Yep.
All the other members have to be members or residents of Weston.
Okay. And 2 board members.
And they serve at the, doesn't say how many are board members.
We had it.